Hi everyone, my name is Teena Thach. I am a content creator, storyteller, food blogger. I am also a daughter of immigrants. My mom came here from Vietnam after the Vietnam War. She used to tell me that she would hold my brother and jump over bombs and hide in caves. And so I'm so grateful that she was able to come to America and have me. And my father is from Cambodia, and so he also was in the military, but he was actually the translator for the American side. And so they met in Alaska as my mom immigrated here and had a job on the fisher boat, and my father was a fisherman there. And luckily for me, I was born somehow on that boat, or something happened. I'm not really sure, because she had me when she was 40, and I was like, I definitely feel like that was an accident, but I'm not really sure. And so I'm super grateful to be an American citizen, but also have the opportunities that my parents has given me. And I never thought the social media thing would ever happen the way it has happened, and so I've done social media all my life. I grew up you would think I would grow up lonely just because, so my older brother, right now I'm 30, my older brother is 50, my mom is 73, and so growing up, you would think that I didn't really have connections with anyone. I always looked at other kids who could ask their mom to help with their homework and do projects. I envied them, because growing up, I had to ask my parents for help in ways where, Mom, can you walk me to school? Can you pack me a normal lunch, because kids may make fun of me if it's too Asian, things like that. But I was grateful because I didn't have those resources at home, that I was able to find them for myself and connect with people. And I was that kid that asked so many questions and was so curious on everyone's story. And I think that was embedded to me till now. And so during a time where I was posting on social media on MySpace, if you all remember that, and singing on YouTube, I always had this creativity where I wanted to connect with so many people across the world just using the power of social media. And I kind of lost myself when I realized I went to college, and I'm like, this singing thing is not going to work. I need a real job. I'm not sure posting on YouTube is actually going to make me any money. And so I decided to study journalism and public relations, and I had my mom in my ear every day, like, you need to get a real job because that's what adults do. But what makes that normal? You know, I always was pushed to do, if you make money, that means happiness. And I was always pushed to do that. If you make a lot of money, that means happiness. But as I got older, I realized that that was a survival skill from my parents, because for them, immigrating to this country to survive is making money regardless of love. It's to make every day, to have food on the table, to pay your bills. But because I was born here, I realized that's not my path, and that is absolutely okay. And so I graduated, and I got my 9-to-5 in social media, worked my corporate job, but I always felt like something was missing. And I just did all these random things, and I realized that I had a purpose of connecting with people. And so in 2020, during the pandemic, I think a lot of us were suffering and at home, and communities were dying. And it was a really sad time for all of us to kind of realize that life is really short. And even in 2020, I had a rough moment where my father caught meningitis B. And so in a span of a week, he was really sick. And I never realized that I've never had anyone in my life pass away. And it was the most hardest roller coaster of my life. And even during this time, there were so many different rules of the hospital, you can come see them or not. And so I remember when my dad was sick, he was in a coma, and he was in the hospital by himself, and I could not communicate with him. I wasn't able to go into the hospital because at the time, we weren't able to just because of the pandemic. And I remember feeling so lost at home because, one, we're not seeing each other and hanging out with your friends or family. I'm just stuck in the house. And as my father is sitting there in a coma, I'm at home just asking myself, what is the purpose of life if it can just be taken away from you so fast? And so I turned to social media, and this time TikTok was growing, and it was something that was positive. And I saw all these dance videos and singing videos, and that was where my happiness was at. And the hardest part was knowing that I wasn't sure my dad was gonna pass away. And I remember the moment where I had a phone call from the hospital that was like, hey, your dad just woke up, and he told you that, like, he's like speaking. Like, I had this sense of hope. And so my mom, my brother, and I drove to St. Joseph Hospital over here, and we parked in the front of the hospital, and I'm ready to see my dad. I haven't seen him at all, like, visually. And I remember getting the call from the nurse that was like, hey, like actually CDC just said, like, you can't come up here. And I just remember at that moment, just on FaceTime, like, I need to see my dad. Like, I haven't seen him at all. And I remember just being on FaceTime, like, just yelling his name, like, please, like, do you remember me? And he wouldn't wake up, and I just remember just feeling so helpless. And I was sitting outside the car just, like, screaming at the hospital, hoping that I would come in, but it was still not enough, I couldn't. But for some reason, it's almost like he held on knowing that he needed to see us. And so I got a phone call later on, and we were able to go to the hospice home, and I knew at that time it was time to say goodbye, but thankfully we were able to see him. And so we went to the hospice home, and like all my life, my dad has been working all his life because, like I said, money means happiness. He needs to take care of his family. So working as a fisherman in Alaska, he would come in and out and come home every 3-4 months. And so I was walking, I was talking, I was graduating. It was just moments of my life that he has missed. And as I'm on the hospital bed, I realized that I don't want to live my life just working. I don't want to live my life just not doing the things that I love, because that's just not how I want to do it. And I wish we had family vacations. I don't even think my parents and I ever went anywhere, because all they did was work. And though I could look at it as in a negative way, it's not. It's just showing me that that's the life that I don't want to live. But I honor my parents for giving me the opportunity to live this life. And I remember the moment where he was about to pass away. My fiance asked for his hand and asked if he could marry me. And even though I knew that he couldn't respond, I knew that he said yes. And he was able to let go, and I was like feeling very okay, because now he wasn't feeling the pain anymore. And it's weird how tragedy sometimes makes our family come together. My family was always separated, but ever since my dad had passed, it almost made my family closer. And during the pandemic this time, I'm also grieving over my dad passing while everyone is, trying to stay inside, not talking to people, and I was using social media as an outlet. And so I was like, oh, wow, TikTok is so cool. Do I need to make dancing videos or singing videos? I don't know. I was just playing around, and I think everyone was at home bored. And though I was really sad, I went through therapy, and I feel like therapy works for a lot of people. I just felt like it wasn't working for me. And I remember turning to food as something I was passionate about. I was like, food makes me happy. I'll eat it. I'm full. It brings people together. This is what makes me happy. But it didn't really work. With this food blogging thing didn't work until I remember I wanted to try a new restaurant. And so I had messaged this owner of this restaurant that I want to try. And I'm like, hey, I've never been here before. I want to come by. And he's like, if you come make a TikTok, I'll give you free boba. And I was like, absolutely. I love free stuff. Yeah, I'll do it. And so I remember coming to the restaurant and just decided to post with the things that I ate, the prices, a little bit of the storytelling, but this is just the beginning of it. And I wanted to showcase the things that I was eating with, food that many people might think is weird, but it's a great way to showcase culture and diversity. And so the moment that I posted it, it just went viral. And I was like, what? Is this it? Is this what makes things viral? But it wasn't the fact that it went viral. It was the fact that the owner had called me the next day and was like, hey, business has been super down, and I just want to say thank you, because everyone coming in is ordering exactly what you put in the video. It's been really, really hard. You help save my business. And I just had a moment where I was like, is this my purpose in life? And I remember all my life doing social media. It was all fun. I worked a social media corporate job, and it's always for other people. But this time I want to do something for myself, but also help the communities in need. And so one after one, I decided to just pick the restaurants that I wanted to go to, the things that people might seem weird, the things that smell funny, whatever. I just wanted to showcase the food that I like, but also share that it's okay to feel uncomfortable sometimes. But I'm going to be your foodie friend to showcase the food, the culture, and I really truly believe that food tastes better when you know the story behind it. And so I took the time to go in and finally use my journalism degree. And I wanted to sit down with these owners and interview them, hear their story. Where did this recipe come from? Did you learn from your grandma? You know, where did you make this dish? How did you plate it? Is this a family restaurant? I wanted to focus on Black and brown immigrant small businesses because that's the community I come from. I grew up in the South End of Tacoma, low income, middle class, and we never thought that we were able to go after our dreams and our goals. I wanted to showcase my parents, the people that I see my mom, the ones that don't understand digital marketing or social media, the ones that need the help. Because though we can pay $1 million to put a poster on the board, I think storytelling is where the connection truly is. And so one after one, I went to these restaurants, I was telling their story, and I was like, it's not about going viral, and it's not about me getting all this fame or things like that. It's how much I could make a change in using social media. And then ever since I posted a video, I was like, is there lines? That's crazy. And I was able to help and save a lot of businesses. And I remember just being like, if this is my purpose in life, I just want to keep doing that to help others, to honor my mom, to honor my dad every single day with his spirit with me. And I live every day with this concept of you only live once, YOLO, because it truly is that. And I never thought this power of social media would be a big thing. So I'm very honored to be here at Women to Watch, but I hope you continue to watch me because I'm just getting started. Thank you so much.